My name is Lachelle Yulee. I'm a licensed esthetician here in Beverly Hills. So how I got started in this business, I started when I was about 19 years old, and I was a stock boy, but I always had a love of fashion and beauty and fashion. The first company I worked for in LA was a brow company, and I came on to interview as a makeup artist. And they wanted to train me to do brows, and I had never done brows professionally up until that point. And this was a company that was basically mostly Indian women and Persian women. There was not really a lot of men in the company. And so I learned how to thread eyebrows, and I started working in threading in their salons, and I became sort of a standout because you don't see many Black men threading eyebrows. It's not even, men in their culture don't even do it, And from there, I started working, from there I worked for them for a few years, and then I worked at a smaller salon after them, managed another salon, and then started working for Damone Roberts, which he was known as the Eyebrow King. Damone Roberts, I got to sort of utilize all my skills. He allowed me to grow in such a huge way. I got to use my makeup skills, I got to use my sales skills, I got to use my facial skills because I had learned so much about facial products and skin in my years working on counters. And so my love of skin started to come back. And then I said, you know what? Let's take this up a few notches. Got the license in skin because I hadn't had it up until that point. I just had the know-how. And from there, I already knew I wanted to do something with men, but it became very clear when I got to that salon. Brows. I noticed that most men have great brows, but they didn't want to groom them. And I started to speak to the male clients that will come in either by themselves or with their partners and ask them, hey, do you want to get your brows done? And it was always this sort of resistance and reservation. And then the conversations would start with me. Yes, there are certain stigmas put onto men and masculinity and what it is to be an actual man, and that's about providing. And it's also about men thinking that they're invincible. So there's no need for me to take care of this part of myself, for me to take a full stop to nurture myself. Because nurturing is a woman's thing to do. Us men have been told through society to compartmentalize all our emotions. And if we engage in certain emotions like vulnerability, nurture, care, it seems as weakness and less of. And I think that is so false. And I think most men are starting to understand that that's so false because it has hurt them. It has hurt them on some level in their lives to compartmentalize who they are. So how I've gotten men to sort of see that different, you change the conversation. There's nothing wrong with pampering yourself. I always tell men, how you do one thing is how you do everything. You can't give somebody else something you don't have. I usually ask them when they're sitting in my chair after meeting with me, do you even go to the doctor? How is that? You realize most men don't do this for themselves. And that's the conversation that's really needed to be had. Why don't you feel like you need to do this for yourself, especially men who have a family, men like myself who have businesses? How are you giving everything to this thing and nothing to yourself because you feel that is what a man is supposed to do? Well, maybe so, but a man is also supposed to stop and take care of himself too. But most men don't know how. And I feel that I have sort of a space now with what I do to at least inspire other at least inspire and lead them on the path to other wellness and well-being services. What we get to do as an esthetician, what I personally get to do and why I really love this industry and I love what I do, especially working with other men, is we get to perform lifestyle medicine. There's a shift happening with the community of fitness, with the community of yogas, with the wellness community, where people are really now starting to understand the importance of self-care and how it impacts their life on the whole. This past year, in the transition, the blessing that the pandemic has brought is this new shift of really understanding what people in my profession really get to provide. What I get to do is not brain surgery. You come into my space, I educate you on your skin, I examine the skin, we have a conversation, intimacy, okay? I can now provide a service for you while relaxing you through therapeutic touch, which most men don't get. Most men don't get, even in their marriages, they don't get therapeutic touch. And when I say therapeutic touch, it's just a touch of nurture and care, and it's needed. So I get to do that. And then I get to plan out something for you to take care of your skin so that you can watch the health of your skin grow. What does that do on the whole? First of all, it builds a partnership that keeps you accountable to take care of yourself. And in taking care of yourself, the result of that is healthy, great skin. You start to feel better, look better. I guarantee you, by you doing that, it starts to open up other pathways of you applying that in other parts of your life, in your marriage, in your family. And when I start having these conversations with men, it starts to click with them. The conversation just needs to change. And me being another man and have been through have some of the issues that some men have, we can have a conversation, a relatable conversation, and it creates an understanding with them. Lifestyle medicine, man. I thoroughly enjoy guiding brands on how to change the conversation and the approach to men. So skincare brands really speaking to men about what it is that they actually really are needing. Most men in my space become very vulnerable and open, and we have very real conversations that they probably won't have with their families, and about what their needs are, or even with themselves until they come into my space. And so when I'm working with brands, I'm always bringing those conversations into this is how we should approach the situation. And so I love guiding brands on, let's just respect the integrity of the man, and I guarantee you the rest will follow. So I've gotten to use my skill set, especially in the grooming sector, in so many different ways, and some ways that I would really love to expand upon. We've worked at the Soho House, where we just gave a really full day to men of relaxing and pampering. We brought in manicures, we brought in barbers, and it was just a day where men can just kind of shut down and be. And I love that. I really, really love that. And then we did something where I worked at the Barbershop Club, and I really love this idea of once a month, men would meet up and we will bring in speakers and have topics that were relative to men, be it relationships, be it financial, be it business. And then after that, the men would get together and we will have a sort of a grooming experience for them. Something I totally want to expand on. Also educating other estheticians on how to work with men and how we can all expand and make this a much more comfortable environment for men. So these are things that I totally would love to continue to work on and expand on in my industry. A list of grooming services, from brow grooming, ears and nose wax, lash and brow tinting. I even sometimes do a little bit of a lash perm for the right guy. But one of the things that I pride myself on is my regenerative skin engineering treatment. It's something that I formulated for myself. It really focuses on men's skin conditions that are relative to them, such as seborrheic dermatitis or other forms of eczema. We have razor bumps, which is folliculitis, razor burn, acne. These are the things that most men come to me with, and these are some of the issues that we try to correct in the treatment room. This is where I get to hold men accountable, because with this particular treatment and those particular skin conditions, we now have to build a partnership where I'm doing the heavy lifting in the treatment room and they now have to back it up with home care. Through that process is where the real change of mind about skincare and prevention take place with them. There's a lot of stuff out there, and there's a lot of people, beauty enthusiasts out there, who are not really actually understanding how product and skin work together. They don't understand the functions of the skin. And this is how I see myself being an asset to men. The market is saturated. It's so saturated with so many new skincare brands for men. Some of them are really great, and some of them are not great at all. How do men who are so new to this industry, how do you lead them in an honest way? This is how I come in. Enter Lachelle. I come in, I help them sift through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I offer my expertise. It's always, something that we get to have a conversation about. I never profess to know everything, but what I don't know, we find out together. So this is what makes me a great asset to men, because I let them in on the journey, and I'm learning in that journey with them.